What is going on with everybody, man? Hope everybody's doing good, and I hope this thing is going live right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this up here as well too, man. What's going on with everybody, man? Welcome back to the cast, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Gotta double check. We're just gonna make sure these settings are right real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump into everything, man. But hope everybody's having a good Friday night. Hope you guys are doing exciting stuff on the weekend as well too. You know what I mean? Holding it down, doing y'all's thing. Let me know how you guys are doing as well. We're gonna go ahead and send this link to Discord. Do the regular thing that we do. And it's funny because now I got two cameras going for the regular video. So for my boy Lakvir, shout out to my man. He did a great job editing the last episode. So if you guys haven't checked that one out, go ahead and check that one out if you guys have not. Yeah, that was a great one. Just to kind of start things off, kick it off, get things going. So, I'm excited to jump in today because today we're going to have a variety of topics. And the first thing we're going to cover is the NFC Championship game, man. It's coming up in 2 days. I'm so excited, man. But we're going to go and tell everybody on Discord that we are live. Come hang out. Okay, I was going to be in all caps. Let's go ahead and chat, man. I love this thumbnail that I made, by the way. This is so fucking dope to me. Just the whole, we got the quarterbacks in the back, and we got my ugly boy right here in the front, man. Shout out to him. So we're gonna talk about him in a little bit. Yo, the sports betting thing has been going crazy, man. Look at how close just Neil was. Let me bump this thing up real quick, full screen. Oh wow. Okay. All right. That thing was not bumping up, but it's been going crazy in there, man. So join the Discord if you guys have not, man. Go ahead and check that one out. But I gotta remember that I got two cameras going right now, so this is cool. Let me go ahead and make sure all the settings look good. I think we're good on that side. I think we good. All right, I'm gonna keep this up right there. Okay, there we go. We got that chat going as well too. All right, man. So let's go ahead and jump into what we got going on today for this week's podcast, man. Thank everybody for joining for this one, man. Check out the last one if you guys have not. We were talking about shoulders, and it was hilarious. All right, so just seeing the different comments that were out there and the different things that people talk about and what they care about as well too. Very interesting. But I think today, at the same time, I was talking about all that stuff, and I was like, man, I need to talk about some stuff with some more substance. So today, we're going to focus on a lot more things with more substance. And for those on the live, if you're wondering why I'm looking this way, I got another camera right there for the YouTube version of this. So that way, it's like higher quality as well, too. But shout out to just Neil for joining the chat, man. My boy said, how do you feel about Sunday? That's what we're diving to. That's the first subject on this because I'm like, we're going to cover sports for all the people that want to hear sports. And then the rest of the subjects that we got on the deck, we're going to talk about them. But let's talk about some sports real quick, man. Let's talk about Sunday, man. Actually, we're going to open it up by looking at my profile on Twitter, bro. I've been seeing some crazy stuff from Eagles fans. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First things first, I'm not going to play the song because I'm going to get the copyright. But the 49ers going crazy to Lil Baby freestyle. Oh my God, that is the biggest indication, if not, that they're going to win this Sunday. I mean, like, for me as a fan, if I had any doubts, if I had any, like, I don't know, like, are they prepared? Are they in the right mindset? Are they going to go out there and hunt and eat? Like, are they going to do what they got to do? I'm actually thinking they are. They're listening to the right songs. Let me tell you that right now, man. Trent Williams going crazy in that video if you're watching it right there. The best player in football, in my opinion, without a doubt, is Trent Williams. Y'all know what it is. But let's talk about this game as well, too. And let's look at some tweets, man, at the same time. Some funny stuff that we've been seeing out there. Let's talk about this one right here. To my fellow Eagle fans going to the game, remember the goal is to be as ruthless, classless, disrespectful, loud, obnoxious, savage, and annoying as the 49er fans as possible. Just, Neil, let me know in the chat. How does that make you feel? I wish I was going to the game, to be honest with you. Like, what? What is this, man? These fucking Eagles fans out here throwing threats out there. They think this is something. And it's funny because I hear a lot of stuff about how 49er fans are classless. Don't get me wrong, a lot of 49er fans do be acting up a lot. But we all know Philly fans are on a whole different level when it comes to classless, man. And we're going to find out this Sunday. It's actually a video that I want to show you guys before we talk about the picks and stuff. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, my God. Y'all see this? Holy crap. The funny part is it's a Crabtree and a Willis jersey in this video as well too. But these people are getting dogged on. It's like, do you even want to sit in the front area at all? You know what I'm saying? That's so crazy. So to all the fans that are going to the game, Good luck, hold it down, represent, don't get your ass beat. Apparently, they out here gonna be like headhunting. Like this is some 1600s crazy shit right there, man. Insane. Shout out to Emmanuel Akko breaking down the team, the defense, why you don't repeat plays. So check out that video if you guys hadn't. I thought that was really cool how the 49ers defense, you run a play that's successful, but if you try to run it again, it's a wrap for you. You know what I'm saying? So just Neil said, I know Niner fans act a lot, but Eagle fans are different. The pass rush speak for themselves. Yeah, man, I remember hearing as a kid that they had the courthouse in the freaking stadium because of how many court cases and lawsuits and like things that would go down like that. Like that's insane. Like to be honest, look at this. This dude presented every single Brock Purdy interceptable pass. Who does that? Am I gonna sit there and present every almost shot that Kobe almost missed? What is this, bro? I think that's just hilarious, man. Playing on the ifs of what could have happened and what happened. And what if somebody say something? Gabe says something. He goes, someone should do this to Mahomes and watch the man. I swear, dude gets so lucky. If it keeps happening, it's not luck. That's all I'm gonna say. If it keeps happening, it's not luck. All right, people gotta make plays and make that shit happen. But let's go ahead and dive into the NFC Championship game this Sunday, man. It's going to be a good one, honestly. I think one thing that I'm taking away when it comes to matchups and everything, everybody keeps saying Brock Purdy's going to get hit with stuff that he hasn't seen. He's going to be hit with this D-line that has all these first-round picks, which is very, very true. That's very, very true. But at the same time, if we looked at how he handled that Washington D-line, whether or not you're going to consider them on the same level or not, it's a talented D-line over there. And he handled that pressure pretty fine. And someone brought up a good point. I was watching this video earlier. I wish I could remember the name so I could give that dude a shout out, but he don't need a shout out from me. But this dude basically was saying Brock Purdy running scout team, and it just makes 100% sense if you guys ever play real football. The backups are running a scout team, right? So Brock Purdy is running a scout team against who? Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, all these dogs, you know what I'm saying? These monsters, literally monsters in real life. He's running against them and a scout team, you know what I mean? All day, every day. And they're saying he's so used to just snapping, and Nick Bosa's right in his face every single time. So with that being said, he's so used to pressure that, we had to stop that and bring that recording back for my boy for the YouTube version. But he's so used to pressure that essentially that shit doesn't really faze him. It's not really going to matter to him. I don't think that as much as Eagle fans think it will matter. I think the game really just going to come down to the matchups, right? Like, does Debo win one-on-one? Does he break tackles or does he not break tackles? Does A.J. Brown completely cook our team? I don't think Dallas Goedert is going to do shit. Can Miles Sanders break enough runs that, will really help sustain? That's what I think this game is really going to come down to for the Eagles in that side. But for Brock Purdy, I don't think it's going to be too much different of what he's been seeing. Let's be honest. Like, the Eagles got some dogs on their D-line, right? But at the same time, do the Eagles have someone as good as Michael Parsons? I mean, he's faced guys. He's faced the best of the best, if not, you know what I mean? So for me, actually, I'm not concerned about that. I think if one thing we could tell is the dude has game experience. It's more so, are they going to throw a different kind of thing he's never seen at them, and can he not bounce back from that? But I think the coaching staff is just too damn good, and he has the confidence. And honestly, with the weapons around him, that's all you need. Like, how many successful teams are there out there that you can get carried as long as you got that confidence with your teammates around you? So, when it pertains to this NFC Championship game, y'all know we rocking with the 49ers. I gave my score in the Discord, so if y'all ain't in the Discord, man, go ahead and join. 31-16, 49ers. I think it's obviously going to be more than that. I think for Jalen Hurts, truthfully, actually, I thought about this earlier. It comes down to him. If he balls out, we're going to lose. Like, if he goes out there and he throws for 2 touchdowns, runs for 2, we will lose this game. But if we contain Jalen Hurts, it's a wrap. And I think we can contain him. They probably score more than 16 points. Realistically, it's probably like 25, 28 at least. But the 49ers, I think at the same time, will score 2. Because at the end of the day, what we're all forgetting, he said just seen on Twitter, the squad has landed in Philly. Facts, man. He said Miles Sanders and the running backs will be contained. I think it's Hurts scrambling if we contain. That is the biggest challenge, right? And I think when we played Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, Marcus Mariota, very mobile quarterbacks and what they can do. I think far more mobile, or not far more mobile, but they're mobile. And those were good tests, actually. And I think Kyler Murray's a good run-up, too. I think the way they stretch the defensive ends side to side on the field is a You know, it's hard to defend that in that style of defense as well too. Mauricio said, "I just hope Niners don't get blown out by a lot and Eagles run ball all game." Damn, what the fuck kind of fucking comment is that? Wait, we ain't the Texans. We ain't some fluke team, and it ain't gonna be like that, man. You better hope it's not the other way around, a blowout. All right, but like we were saying, man, I think Jalen Hurts. It does come down to him. Can he execute and score a lot? And if he does, it's gonna be a tough game. But at the same time, we got the experience. We ready to rock. But here's what everybody else is forgetting, actually. This is the biggest X factor. And I think because we have the last pick in the draft, which, by the way, let's emphasize that for a second. The last pick in the draft? In this year, not like the last pick in the draft 6 years ago, like Isaiah Thomas back on the Lakers or something. No, we're talking about this year. And everybody's holding him to this gold standard. And I think that's hilarious. The last pick in the draft. So let's just remember that. Why is the last pick in the draft in this position in the first place? I'm going to be honest. It's not because George Kittle. Well, it is because of some of George Kittle. It is because of some of Deebo Samuel, AU, Kyle Shanahan, the defense, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, right? I'm out here just, no, I'm just kidding. But I know the Eagles have seen phenomenal all season. But other than that, who else? Eagles. Easiest fucking schedule, at least for the first 10 games, if you guys go look at it. You know what? What are we talking about if you guys go look at it? Let's go look at it real quick. Before I bring up what is the biggest X factor for the 49ers in this whole thing, let's look at the Eagles schedule real quick, all right? So when was the first one? Preseason was right there. Preseason. Why they making it so confusing? Week 1 was what? Lions? Oh, my God. Lions. Oh, my God. So fucking hard, right? Vikings. Beat the Vikings. Vikings look like ass that week. I remember that shit. Okay, then they go beat the Commanders. All right. So who they beat is a good team. Vikings. Commanders, not so good. He said, "Yeah, Purdy worries me. Just keep it close, mate." What has Purdy done to worry anybody? That's what I want to know. What has Purdy done to worry anybody? That don't make sense to me. All right, let me know in the chat. Just Neil, let me know if Purdy's giving you a reason to worry. I don't have a reason to worry. It's more on the O-line, the rest of the team. But we're gonna dive into that in a second. So don't worry. Let's go into the schedule. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Cardinals. Cardinals are ass. Jaguars, average. They made the playoffs. That's pretty, not bad. Beat the Cowboys. Beat a good team right there, right? Beat the Steelers. Bad team. Beat the Texans. Beat the Texans. I got some Texans fans in the chat. Let me run that back real quick. Beat the Texans, all right? Okay, Commanders beat them. What the fuck? I think that was that one game dude went off on the quarterback. Okay, then Eagles barely beat the Colts. I remember this one. They snuck out. This was the one where I was like, ooh. If I was a coach, this would be the game I would have pulled my film up and like, what did the Colts do to make it so tough on them? They might have had some injuries, but, defensively, what did they do to make that hard for them? He said, just do basic and playmakers will get everything else. He's balling out, no doubt. Law of averages. Purdy looked great against the pressure from the Cowboys. He was good at getting rid of the ball, making sure his feet were set. Everything was great on each detail. I would say my favorite detail about Brock Purdy is if he gets away, he throws the ball away, but he at least tries to extend it a little bit. And Jimmy G could never. I think it just stems from the fact that Jimmy G literally could never, not even in his life, think about scrambling and throwing the ball away like it's Madden. Never. All right. So Eagles do that. Eagles pull out a big time victory against the Packers. Beat the Titans. Beat the Giants. Beat the Bears. Lose to the Cowboys this time. That was a great game right there. I gotta watch those highlights again. Lose to the Saints. That is the game right there. By the way, the Saints. I'm gonna throw this out there for any of my Saints fans out there that are invested. Shout out to my boy Caleb. Shout out to my boy Lamont. Shout out to all the Saints fans that we know. The Saints played the 49ers and the Eagles the best this year. The two teams that are in the NFC Championship game. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but that's actually a fun fact. Not only did they beat the Eagles, but when they played us good. That defense was hard to score on and was fucking giving us hell all day. And those teams basically, in my opinion, laid down the formula to beat these offenses. If these defensive coordinators go and say, okay, what did the Saints do? Does that work? They can walk out Sunday with the dub. Honestly, this game right here was the key. Go watch the highlights if you want. That game literally is revealing for both times when the Saints played both of them, how to beat these teams, to be honest with you guys. He said, we seen Brady did that against the Cowboys. He tried to get rid of the ball, but he threw a pick because he didn't have his feet set and didn't work on that detail. Brady getting old. Brady thought he could do all that stuff. It's like, oh, it's getting harder to do it now, huh? Harder to maintain that core energy. Here we go. He said he was a game manager last game, though, can throw TDs against a good defense. Are you talking about Purdy, huh? Especially if the run game not there. He's talking about... Oh, yeah, okay. I think Cowboys defense tougher than Eagles. Don't Eagles rank 24th in rushing? That's the thing. And they were saying what's the key is for both teams is for the Eagles to run at Nick Bosa and for the 49ers to also take the, the energy to the line. Take the fight to the defensive line and run at them instead of putting... You never really want to do that with teams that, especially they lead the league in sacks as a team. You don't want to do this with Michael Parsons, 49ers, Eagles, where you're in third and long, second and long, and all of a sudden these guys can just know they can pass rush. They don't got to account for the run. They don't got to. It's just straight go off count. That's like you're asking to die, right, in that situation. So that's going to be crazy right there. Let's talk about the X factor. He said, I think Cowboys defense tougher than the Eagles. Honestly, I feel like you could flip a coin with that one. So that's a good one right there, man. He said, I see the quality improving in entertainment. My boy, shout out to my boy Lakvir joining. The quality of sound should be even better, my brother. And I got another camera right here recording, so I'm going to have 2 files to send with you. You can line it up, and you can be good. And this one's going to be giving us the better quality, so I'm excited for this, man. So shout out to my boy. He's been the one that edited the last episode, so show him some love, man. Everybody in the chat. So my boy said, word, I feel like they are stout up front. Yeah, honestly, yeah. And I think they're a little more stout than the Cowboys on the run, but at the end of the day, I think it's just a better unit overall. He said they are a pass rush, but their run defense isn't good. That's going to be the X factor is which run defense is going to give up on the thing. And that actually goes into what my X factor is for the 49ers today, all right? Or for this weekend. It's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, was that kind of obvious? CMC, Comele Colo. I don't know if I said that right. Meese, let me know if I said that right. But it's CMC for sure, man. All day, every day. Undefeated since they got him. Literally, it's like, all right, how can we put it like this? It's like Phil Jackson coaching basketball, right? And then all of a sudden, Phil Jackson has this I don't know if this is how it went, but just pretend Phil Jackson is like, I got this triangle offense. But if I just had this perfect player to just man the ball at this position and just score at any moment, he would be perfect in this scheme, and he could just do it all. And Kyle Shanahan has joined the 49ers since, 2014, 15, and he's been looking for that player to uphold that. You know what I mean? We could have drafted Calvin Kamara, and we didn't. He tried to draft him. We drafted Joe Williams instead. Or we had Carlos Hyde for a second. We had Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert. We've had all these different guys, Elijah Mitchell as well now, to run it, and we've been like, man, we need that dynamic player. And we finally got one. We finally got the man. And he's probably the most dynamic, if not the best player, best running back in the league as well, too. Can do it all 3 down, catch the ball as well, too. So he's literally about to make the system explode. So as good as Debo, Kittle, all these guys were making that team, he is literally going to explode it to its potential. And that's why literally the 7th round, the last pick in the draft, he can literally freaking carry this team, make almost interceptions like we just went over on Twitter, right? We just talked about that. Make almost interceptions, right? Because you're so worried as a defense about Kittle, CMC, Debo, and it's so beautiful to see. So next season, whether it's Trey, Brock Purdy, whoever's leading it, they obviously got to be able to carry as well too. But that is the X factor, is Christian McCaffrey. Being undefeated with that team, or already so far, no one being able to stop it, I just think it's too explosive, it's too dynamic. Have the Eagles ever seen an offense like that? Let me know that in the chat. Have the Eagles ever seen an offense that has this combination of dynamic players before? We talk about, A.J. Brown this, but they ain't got no George Kittle. Dallas Goedert is good, but they ain't got no Christian McCaffrey. They don't even have an Elijah Mitchell. Let's run that right there. You know what I mean? They really just got 2 really good receivers and a really great quarterback who also is better than Josh Allen, in my opinion. So let me know how y'all feeling about that, man. Let's read some of these comments real quick, catch up on what it was. He said, I think Debo has a big game. CMC rushing yards over. No doubt, if we're talking about prize picks for everybody, CMC rushing yards over without a doubt, and Miles Sanders under. Free money. Joe Burrow is a free square as well, too. We were talking about that in the Discord, so y'all got to join that as well, too. You pair up that Joe Burrow with Miles Sanders under. If you need a quick win, that power play. You may want to put Joe Burrow in a bigger thing that I don't know, but to be honest with you, that's power play right there. You know what I mean? So I would definitely pair up Joe Burrow with Miles Sanders under. But hey, to each his own. Maybe even do AJ Brown over. I'm not a hater. You know what I'm saying? But I think Javarius Ward gonna do his thing. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about more CMC perfectly fit. Man, CMC anytime touchdown, I think is that solid. I feel like George Kittle's going to score this weekend. I feel like, but they said CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to follow him. That's interesting. Why follow him? Why not follow Debo? It's because you got Darius Slay. We're going to find out, man. T. Higgins as well, too. Look at what we did last year. Now we add a top 3 running back. I'd rock with Purdy next year. Hey, man, if he wins the Super Bowl, there's going to be some tough conversations being had about that as well, too, man. So let's go ahead and talk about. So we talked about that, right? We got 31-16, 49ers winning it this weekend. We broke down the keys. We talked about what the Eagles got to do, what the 49ers got to do, and the X factor that is Christian McCaffrey as well, too, man. So let's go ahead and talk about another subject right here, man, on this podcast here today, man. We're going to talk about 4 subjects in total, essentially. That way I can break it down, and I'm excited to just kind of do this twice a week. So shout out to my boy Luke Veer to be helping me with these edits, man. So let's go ahead and dive into this next one as well right now, man. Let's talk about Modi and the BBC documentary, man. And if y'all haven't heard about it, man, this is just, it's funny, man. I've been waiting for this moment to get on here and talk about this as well, too. Elon Musk talking about freedom of speech and shit, man. Oh, I love it because obviously we knew he was full of fucking shit, right? Let's just type in Modi documentary. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. Elon Musk talking about freedom of speech, and then he caves and essentially bans the documentary from being shared on Twitter, and YouTube bans it as well, too. But I think they even took it a step further in the sense that if people were sharing it, they got banned. But obviously, some people are going to get away with it, be able to share it and stuff. And if a lot of people are sharing it, then that's the case as well, too. But to put this into perspective of everybody trying to figure out what is going on with this situation, back in 2002, there was a situation where a train, caught on fire, I believe, and a lot of people died on it, specifically Hindu migrants on that train. And then essentially the Muslim community in that area took blame about that, situation. For 3 days, there was riots in Gujarat, in that town. I forgot the name of the town specifically. For 3 days, right? Then the police came in and, stopped it or whatever. But the whole time the police let it go. So Modi himself is basically under a lot of scrutiny about human rights and all that stuff about that happening. He became Prime Minister of India back in 2014. So before that, he was just Chief Minister of his state. Basically like a governor. And then he became president, right? So it's like, imagine if like Ron DeSantis was like, I'm going to do some ethnic cleansing, right? In Florida, no joke, right? And then he became president as well, too. So that's the dynamic that we're dealing with. So this has kind of been something that's been carrying on with him as well, too. Oh, my boy, Just Jesus said something. I'd love to read that in a second. But that's something that's been carrying on with this situation. So he's under a lot of scrutiny about that. The United States actually banned him from coming to America. The George Bush administration, ironically or not, banned him from coming to America because of the human rights violations. Obama reinstated him, and then Trump invited him back to the land where he actually got to come here. I think he was in Houston, ironically enough, H-Town. Mauricio, how'd you let that happen? I'll wait for an explanation. I'm just kidding. But essentially, that's what we're dealing with. But the BBC, though. So let's dive into that. So the BBC makes their documentary about it, and it's like a bunch of parts to it. I think they've only released maybe 1 or 2 parts. One is for sure out. The second one, I don't know. But check it out if you guys haven't. It's crazy. It gives you some insight. But why is this important? This part of the podcast I'm excited to talk about, especially if you guys are still watching, like Just Neil, if he's watching. I'm not sure because we are live streaming as well, too. So check out the live stream, you guys. I'm excited to do that. Just be able to do the podcast while live streaming it. It's a lot of fun. But why is this important? Well, one, obviously there's the human dynamic. Like, we're all humans. Stuff happening. Other people is just wrong. That should already be enough, right? The flip side of it, too, is when you belong to a marginalized community yourself and you look at what happens to other marginalized communities and just history in general, it gives you so much insight about what is going on to your people, what is going on to you, what is going on around you, to your community, etc. Examples: North Koreans, South Koreans as well too. I think it was South Koreans, one of the other. Back in the 50s, right? they revealed this documentary about how they were doing basically like hypnotism or whatever, and like mind control like tactics, and they would put these people through these different trials and tests essentially. And the flip side is that people in Scientology, goddamn, I hope I don't get no Scientology people on us, man. He said he didn't check in. Wow, what does that mean? I didn't check in. I didn't check in where? I feel like I'm at a hotel now. I'm reading the chat. I feel like I'm at a hotel now. What are you talking about? But the flip side is the Scientologist people basically watched this and they learned how these mind tricks were happening. And then they realized, wait a minute, these same tactics are being used on me. And it made them realize, oh my God, wait a minute, I need to get out of this. Like, I need to free myself from this. So that's one example of just realizing how other communities go through things. We've seen how the black community in America has gone through different things. And you see how the dynamics that have been put on them, how those similar tactics are also being used in other countries as well too, and how countries actually, or I could say regimes, learn from each other on how to use these different tactics. So why is it important to know about how this happens? Is to understand how he shut down the media, how he basically put that out, the blackout on India right now in 2023. Like, no one can see this documentary, nothing can go down. He actually cut down power at a school. I don't know if we can find that or not. Let's see if we can find that now. India school power. Let's just see. Are they gonna show it or not? I feel like they try to filter so much. Okay, I don't know where it's at, but they shut down a school. All right, that was gonna show it. Cut the power out. These people are paying for tuition, education. That shit is insane. So they did that just to prevent it. Reason why this is important is because we can recognize, okay, now what tactics were used in the 80s, 90s against Sikhs, and how was that stuff successful? How was certain things spent in a certain way to justify things in a certain way? And now we see, oh wow, they're doing it to this community a certain way. That's how they did it to this community. If anything, it should reassure, if not prove, the certain tactics that have been deployed and put out there as well too. So that's why we got to pay attention. The deeper side of it too, for my Sikhs that are watching, it's a humanity thing, right? At the end of the day, we see something going on, especially to a country that's supposed to be secular and Sikhs belong to it. Oh, heck no. We should be, asking for a better India in that nutshell. But we already know what we feel on that stance as well, too. So that's that dynamic when it pertains to Modi. But it's a very interesting subject there. I want to hear what you guys think about it as well, too. This interview is hilarious, though, man. Let's dive into this real quick. Because I'm not going to play the audio too much versus... Let's just look at his face. His eyes. Nah, dude. This shit is comedy because he's basically like, no, I don't believe your shit. Where you get this information is not good. It is garbage. I don't believe it. And then he's like good with his answer. But then she'll be like, no, like I was there. I saw it. And then this dude's eyes get so big. And it's so funny to me because it's like you ever have like those Indian uncles where it's like their word is their word. You try to go back and it's like, nope, it is what it is. It could be the stupidest thing in the world, but it's the truth. And you try to go back on it, it's that typical shit. And I'm like, I'm fucking crying. We see through it all, man. But it's so funny. Shout out to this reporter for challenging him through that shit, man. I thought that shit was freaking hilarious, man.
The state is very, very peaceful.
So the Muslims who would...
This absolutely misguided information to you, from where you have picked up this type of garbage.
Very misguided information for you.
Have been accusing your government of not doing enough to stop this, of not protecting Muslims even now.
That boy said, he want to choke her, bro. And he actually said some feminist comment on there. He was like, oh, women got more jobs, but they're not smarter. Like, he said that in Hindi on the set as well, too. This guy, bro, it's the brown Trump. That's what it is, to be honest with you. Like, at the same time, while I'm not a fan of what he's doing and what he's got going on, my freaking monitor just turned off midstream. But what I'm not a fan of what he's doing and what he's got going on, at the same time, I can't help but laugh because the shit is comedy at the end of the day. I think it's hilarious what they think they could get away with and what they think people don't know. Oh, my God. So, yeah. Dude, that shit, oh my God, bro. He gets so fucking mad. Hold on.
Propaganda.
His eyebrows lowered 3 inches right there. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Captive of this false
He said, you are captive of this propaganda as well too. Look, he wants her to be satisfied with that answer. He wants her to be satisfied. Look at this. He can't believe. He can't fathom that she won't just accept this answer. Why is this woman not accept? what I have to say. Why she not accept? What is wrong with her? And I just think this shit is fucking comedy, man. So go ahead and check it out if you guys haven't. What is my boy Jasjeet saying? The Modi documentary isn't telling you any of this, anything new. The voters of India knew the accusations against him for the Gujarat violence. Exactly. It's facts even after this. He swept elections across India and sold out stadiums. I think that's what's the freakier thing about the deeper side of this all is that most of India agrees with his ideology and his sentiment as well too, which is scary. And it's him preying on the fear of people, right? He's preying on the fear of Hindus, the fear of Muslims, the fear of everybody in a sense, and using it to his advantage to spin these communities against each other and to use that to sway his votes as well too. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the election, man. But that's, when we're talking about the Modi situation, that's basically what we're working with in a nutshell. Look at this guy on the screen, out here pissed as hell, man. So let me know what you guys think about the Modi situation and that documentary. If you have not watched it, man, I definitely suggest watching it, get some insight. When they try to ban something, that's the good shit. When they try to ban something, that's the good shit. And if they ban something that isn't, and you go read it, you would just know off tops, it's not the good shit, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this next subject, man. My boy over here, Bosa, is trending. NYPD is trending. I wonder why. Because you know why? That's actually our next subject. We're going to talk about Tyree Nichols, and I hope I'm saying his name right. If not, I'm sorry, my man. But let's see what Hassan Nabi says. As Tyree Nichols' murder was out of control, the ordinary MSM is suggesting they would be equally outraged by the first 3 cops that ripped him out of the car. So I'm not playing the video. I'm going to make sure it's not on the screen as well, too. Definitely not playing the video on the stream or anything like that. But there's a situation with the police again violating the human rights of someone. And it's crazy because we don't even have to open the case. I can tell you what's gonna happen, right? Something was going on where the police had to either stop him or have an encounter with him. And whether or not he's in a bad place or what the police got going on, I think it's just crazy that they will just take people's lives without trying to de-escalate situations, but instead rather this thing stopped recording. But instead rather escalate those situations as well too. The video this stuff is crazy because they're literally just holding him up and just punching on him. And for me, it's at what point do you draw the line with the physical abuse and all that stuff? People all have their different opinions on police, good police, bad police, etc. But I mean, sometimes, more often than not, the physicality is far more excessive than it needs to be. And I played Grand Theft Auto as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, holy crap. If those people that did this in this video to this person right here as well didn't have those uniforms on, we would be like, oh my God, did you see that crazy cartel video? Oh, did you see what they just did in some country in the Middle East? Oh, bro, did you just see what they did in Russia and Ukraine? We would be like, that is inhumane. That's so bad. Those gangs are horrible. Those armies are bad. Those people are horrible, bad people. But the fact that they're not, or they're wearing that, it's oh, well, you know what? There's probably a reason to da-da-da-da-da. And it's that is just absolutely mind-blowing to me that we don't think more objectively past the uniform when it pertains to human rights to people and saving citizens rather than making it more dangerous for them and putting them through encounters as well, too. So when it pertains to this, man, it just sucks to see more people dying at the hands of police brutality. Definitely have a soft spot, I guess you could say, for that in this area. But I don't even think it's more of just why is this happening in our day and age in 2023 in our local communities across America, man. It's wild, right? And when people talk about good cops and bad cops, that's such a taboo subject. It's such a touchy subject. I've actually had a lot of personal friends who might get mad at me on my feelings about the subject. But at the end of the day, it's just opinions. And it's usually funny because the people that talk about, why can't we express this and not get mad, are usually the ones that get mad. I was guilty of that. I try to get better at that. But it's usually the ones that disagree with me on these kind of issues that never really want to come to terms and talk about it as well too. And I always find that very, very funny as well too. We should be able to have discourse and be able to disagree upon it. And I think that's the beauty of what we got going on right here and just having this discourse in general, having events, getting to talk, because then you gain such perspective. And I would love to talk about this good cop, bad cop dynamic. Let me ask people this, all right? Have we ever remembered a good cop? That's such a general, broad question. Let me back that up. do we ever remember a good Nazi? And this is a very broad question as well too, because everyone's like, what are you talking about? Why are you comparing? My whole thing is, we remember the institutions, we remember what they stand for. Sure, we remember some names from the institutions, but usually it's because those names upheld the institutions and whatever they stood for to the best degree, right? In my opinion, we don't reflect back and go, oh, do we remember that one Nazi that helped us Jews out at a concentration camp? Do we remember this person that did that? What we remember is all the messed up stuff that does happen as well too. So when we talk about, oh, there's good cops and bad cops, if a person is just sitting by and they're just letting something happen, or they stay silent about it as well too, what is that difference between that person that was a good Nazi sitting at a concentration camp but was like, hey, I'm just gonna let this happen, and hey, that was what was going on, right? Like, they had that job. They're probably sitting there wondering, do I do my duty? Do I uphold this? And all those different things. But what did that silence do? It was complicit at the end of the day. So in my opinion, and I think we all can have our discourse. Who cares at the end of the day? We can agree to disagree, or we can agree as well too. When the institution represents something one way, it doesn't really matter who's in that uniform. The uniform is the uniform at the end of the day. When it pertains to my six as well too, I think he said it the best. When you're wearing that uniform, he was like, don't come to the Gurdwara, because the reason why he was saying that was obviously at that time in the 80s, it's more heightened with the police and what was going on then. But the flip side of it too is because everybody else, you want them to be able to come to a place like the Gurdwara, or like your home essentially, right? And be able to go there peacefully and not have to deal with anything. But like, imagine you got to go to the Gurdwara or whatever, and there's police there, and that causes an encounter, that causes harassment. It opens the door for something as well too. So he was saying, you could come, but like, take the uniform off, because once you walk in with that uniform, you're not you're the uniform at the end of the day. And there's a lot of good police officers, there's a lot of good people out there that do want to make a difference, that are making a difference, that are doing a lot of good service. I actually know a few people personally that are police officers, got a lot of love for them as well too. But at the end of the day, the uniform is the uniform that you're wearing, right? And that's what you're going to represent and hold. And that's why I'm like, at the same time, we got to talk about more taboo subjects, more touchy subjects as well too. Whether it's touchy or not, that's up to y'all to figure out. But at the end of the day, that's what it pertains to when we talk about police brutality. Good or bad cops, at the end of the day, you're wearing a uniform, right? So you're going to be representing what that institution upholds. And it's up to us to figure out, okay, well, what does this uphold? Do I want to represent that, or do I not want to represent that? So that's when it pertains to that. It is sad to see more stuff happening. It's going to continue to happen, though, unfortunately, because there really hasn't been what kind of changes there, really what kind of accountability is there. So I'm hoping to see, something change over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, just to make things better, on better terms. This country, I think, is in a great place and can be in a fantastic spot if it improves things like this. Like, this kind of stuff is just, it's just a black eye on all of us as Americans. Like, as we sit by and just let this happen, it doesn't really uphold what it really means, the beautiful things of what it means to be an American, why we're so proud to all be a part of this country. I'm born in this country, so I'm proud to be a part of it. But when I see stuff like that, it's just like, man, this is not it, you guys. This is 2023. You know what I'm saying? Last time guards were messing around and messing with people, we were able to play Assassin's Creed and get your revenge and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's 2023 and guards are harassing people in real life. Insane, man. That was probably a real horrible analogy. Cut that one out. Look, viewer, cut that one out. But you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and talk about the next subject that I want to dive into, which is the Insaf Morcha, the Chandigarh Morcha, man. Excited to talk about this one. I think this is a little overdue in a sense too. Not even say overdue, but just, I guess you could say overdue. These prisoners have been sitting in jail for like 25, 30 years, even more than that. People that have served their sentence, people that are serving fake sentences, illegal sentences as well too, being held on detention. And so what's going on is a lot of people have gathered together to protest that. So let's go ahead and dive into this post by the CSYA and talk about what's going on, and then we can kind of dive into it after. So what's happening? Thousands of Sikhs have camped outside Chandigarh in protest of the ongoing detention of Sikh political prisoners. All right. Many Sikh political prisoners have completed their sentences and have been languishing in prisons for over 25 years. Jagtar Singh Hawara, I think probably the most notable on the screen. For those that don't know, The Sikh political prisoners issue cannot be understood without understanding that Sikhs are violently marginalized within India, and Punjab statehood is a fundamental right. Absolutely right. So, talking about stay connected. When we talk about what did it look like as well too, let's go ahead and see what did it kind of look like as well too. My boy said La Puerta Güey. My boy Jerson. Shout out to my boy Jerson, man. Hope you're doing good. Thank you for the insight on the camera. I'm actually about to buy a new camera. But now that I know which camera I'm going to do, now I just got to solidify what lens I want. But let's go ahead and look at what we were working with over here as well. You guys see it, man. I'm excited just to see them on these kind of subjects as well, too. This is some progress that we can make forward to get these people out of jail, putting pressure publicly as well, too. So a lot of these people have served their sentences already. We're talking about 25 years plus completed. A lot of them for fake sentences as well too. Stuff that's not even true, and stuff that when we it's an interesting subject, but it's also very, very deep as well too. And I think what's crazy about the climate of what's going on out there is the people that are being released or granted asylum, or I guess you could say pardoned, I guess would be an equivalent as well too, are people that are committing really horrible crimes. Crimes I can't even mention on the stream. Crimes I don't even want to mention on YouTube as well too. Convicted multiple times, right? And we're talking about some of the worst crimes that you can imagine, and being released early. Some of them even being given a protection security wise by the state as well too. Insane, right? And this is what's happening over there. But then you have people over here that are serving time in jail for what? They either took justice for people that launched genocides that were killing hundreds of thousands of people, innocent children, men and women, to stop them to get justice, fake encounters, put in jail so that they can't organize, serving over 25 years plus. Then they complete their sentences and stuff, and they're still sitting in jail. So that's why we're seeing this massive commotion of people joining together to talk about it. I'm probably going to make a YouTube video about this one, like on the main channel, just covering the subject, just so I could dive more into it and, just make some jokes, maybe references and stuff like that. Who knows? But this is a great, I think, protest overall in general. I think it's going to get more traction as it goes as well too. And I think for Sikhs as well too, we need to realize that the protests go beyond the farmers' protest. The farmers' protest, though, I think sparked a lot of consciousness into a lot of Sikh youth everywhere, myself included, in the sense of just making us realize, whoa, what's going on? Wait a minute. Let's kind of look back and figure out what's happening to our people. And through that, we should hopefully grow to see, okay, this Morcha, this protest is important as well too, and see, okay, what other things do we need to address, and start figuring it out from there. The fact that the diaspora is all over the world, I think, is a great advantage as well too right now. So as Sikhs, I think it's a great Morcha. Check it out if you guys have not. I'm probably gonna make a YouTube video on it soon as well too. But yeah, man, so many people have gathered together. It's so cool to see. I wish I was out there, man, just to be a part of the vibes, be a part. Look at that. Did you guys see the eagle? That's an eagle, right? I think that's an eagle, not a hawk. Right? Shout out to Deep Sadu. But yeah, man, what a time it is. We got to keep putting that pressure out there. They're definitely trying to censor on social media. So I ever wonder if they're ever going to censor my stuff. I highly doubt it, though. You know what I mean? I highly, highly doubt it. But yeah, man, I think that's a good place to leave this stream. We're going to be right at, 45 minutes or so for my man, Lakveer. So I'm excited to put this together for him to edit. Shout out to Jasneel, Mies, Jerson, my boy Lakveer, whoever else joined in the chat, man. Appreciate you guys as well, too, man. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. I hope that the next time I run this run this stream, that the 49ers are in the Super Bowl, and we can go crazy. And I think I need to come up with something creative on YouTube. Like, if the 49ers win the Super Bowl, I'm going to do this or something like this. So y'all got any ideas, let me know, man. But y'all know what it is, man. Till next time, baby. Y'all know what it is. We out, baby. But yeah. Yeah. I hope I get Jerson's camera soon.